Testing. the faculty please stand? Thank you. Seated to my right in the front row are President Dr. Katrina Rogers, Dean for Student Development Dr. Dang Shanrirarong, Program Director for Clinical Psychology Programs Dr. Marilyn Freemuth, Program Director for Media Psychology Programs Dr. Jerry Lynn Hogg, Chair of the Board of Trustees Dr. Karen Bogart, Public Trustee and Faculty Emerita of the Clinical Psychology Program Dr. Nancy Baker, Faculty Trustee and Clinical Psychology Faculty Dr. A.G. Green, and Faculty Trustee and Media Psychology Faculty Dr. Gary Hare. As you may know, the composition played during the processional is entitled Pomp and Circumstance. The title comes from a line in Shakespeare's Othello and was used for the 1902 coronation of King Edward VII. Sometimes referred to as the Graduate March, it became associated with graduation ceremonies in 1905. Played as the composer Edward Elgar left the stage after receiving an honorary doctorate degree at Yale University. Our gathering here today rises above and extends beyond a mere show of magnificence, a ceremony of grandeur, and a formal celebration. The graduates present today have earned their degrees, and we honor their work and commitment in that regard. But what of this pomp and circumstance? As written in Psychology Today by Dr. Kimberly Moore, music therapist and assistant professor of professional practice in the Frost School of Music at the University of Miami, the subtle impact of pomp and circumstance serves at least 4 functions. First, it establishes an emotional tone. She writes, music has the unique ability to color an experience. The mood of the room can shift when the first note is heard. Second, it serves to coordinate a shared emotional experience between the graduates, faculty, administrators, family members, and friends as they participate in and witness the ceremony. Third, it marks an important social institution. Moore points out that traditions matter as they reinforce our social and cultural values and bring people who share such values together. The regal melody connects us to the tradition of graduation and is a reminder of the values we share regarding this particular intellectual rite of passage. And finally, it facilitates nostalgia. Music connects to our emotional memories in an intense way. Those who participated in and witnessed the processional may have thought back on their own graduation, what it meant for them, and other memories associated with graduation experiences. I suspect some of you will feel a bit nostalgic during this graduation ceremony, while others may be experiencing this phenomena for the first time. Whatever your particular case, I invite you to fully embrace the memories being made here today. Again, welcome and congratulations to our School of Psychology graduates.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Jerry Lynn Hogg, and I'm the Program Director for Media Psychology.
And I'm Marilyn Freemuth, Program Director for Clinical Psychology, and we're here to bring forward the graduates. And we'll begin with our respecialization in clinical psychology, and if Dr. Lassen will come up.
Hello, it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Beth Lavin to all of you. Beth comes to us with a doctorate in cognitive psychology from Rutgers University, and she's just completed our respecialization program in clinical psychology, as well as having completed an internship with a focus in neuropsychology. Right now, she's in a 2-year fellowship in neuropsychology in Arizona. The last few years she's been with us, she's been a real treasure to my cluster. She's been so helpful in our dissertation discussions, so helpful that I fear my cluster would rather see me graduate than you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you so much, Maureen. I feel like I'm the warm-up act tonight, but I'll be really quick. So really, first and foremost, I really want to thank my family because this was really a team effort. And my son, Will, he had to give up a lot of time and attention over the last few years. But the fact that we're here tonight proves that I was not just reading celebrity gossip blogs and playing solitaire on all those hours on the computer. I told you. Thank you to my mom, Anne, for all the words of encouragement and the free childcare and the tuition contributions. It is most appreciated. Thank you to my husband, Mark. On a spiritual level, I love you and you feed my soul. On a practical level, Will and I would have literally starved to death without you cooking, so thank you. Jackie Fulcher, my internship buddy. What can I say that won't get us into trouble? Like nothing. So we'll just talk later, all right? I also need to thank my mom's mean neighbor who asked why on earth I would ever want to go back to graduate school and predicted that I would drop out. So that really kept me going every time I wanted to quit. And I have a friend who says, if you want to accomplish something really hard, you need 9 people telling you you can do it and 1 person telling you you can't. So thank you for being the one. Also, I just want to take a moment to appreciate my patients who taught me so much, and I think the highlight of my fielding experience was during my practicum. I was doing a neuropsychological assessment with a 5-year-old boy, and he was just really excited about everything that life had to offer. We were doing a test where you put puzzle pieces together. So there's a puzzle that goes together to form a tree, and a bird, and a bear, and a balloon, and this kid was so excited about all of it. Every time he finished a puzzle, he was delighted. He was like, I love trees. I love birds. I love bears. And then by the end of that assessment period, I was like, I love neuropsychology. That kid was living his best life, and he is the change I wish to see in the world. So I try to follow his example every day, 1 puzzle piece at a time. That's it.
Understanding media and psychology behind it is no easy task. Adding in the complexity of politics and the psychologies behind governance makes an academic's challenge that much more difficult. So it is exciting when a student gravitates to both the study of media and political psychologies. Carla Keldewey was not only gravitated to the study of these fields, she displayed an incredible mastery of the subject matter, producing a spectacular analysis of how media becomes a central driver to the acceptance of ideology. In her master's capstone, Rise of Authoritarianism in the United States in the Age of Twitter, Carla describes the very mechanisms which allowed a celebrity figure to take control of our political system and challenge the very norms we have long held sacred in our country. Carla explored how social media and message management caused a large percentage of the electorate to eschew systematic American political foundations of empathy and responsibility and instead fell behind the politics of authority, discipline, and obedience. She drilled into the Twitter sphere and expertly identified the very messaging components which would subconsciously sway voters. Carla's capstone is as much a neuropsychological explanation of the outcomes of the 2016 US presidential election cycle, but also an exploration of the political divide which exists in our nation. What makes Ms. Keldewey's work so impressive is American politics is foreign to her. As a student from Dubai, our political mechanisms were as new to her as the psychological theories she was studying. To develop such a deep and meaningful understanding of the subject matter, not only the psychology, but also the politics, was truly masterful. Carla generated the best paper on the subject matter that I have read to date and is fully qualified to speak to these very matters that affect our nation and our culture. It was truly an honor to serve as Carla's capstone advisor and participate in her hooding ceremony. Congratulations, Carla.
I'm the first one, so I didn't.
Congratulations.
Maria Berardi. I first met Maria when I came to Fielding a number of years ago to join the faculty, and I was impressed by the diligence of her scholarship, the warmth of her personality, and her incredible sensitivity to the problems created by applying Western European frameworks to people from other cultural traditions. And I was deeply disappointed when Maria told me that she needed to step out of the program for personal reasons, because I thought psychology was losing an important voice within our profession. So I was delighted almost 10 years later, I think, when Maria told me she wanted to come back to Fielding. And she came back with real dedication and passion, completing an APA-accredited internship, a highly coveted one at UC Santa Cruz's Counseling Center, and did a dissertation that addressed the issues of grieving and the differences in the models of grieving for Latinas and Western European women. The most important thing I can say about Maria's dissertation is that the noted cultural psychologist Lillian Comas-Diaz, who served as Maria's external examiner, enthusiastically thanked me when I saw her at APA last year for connecting her with such an important developing voice for Latinas and their experience within psychology. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Dr. Maria Berardi and welcome her to the community of scholars.
Thank you for all for being here tonight to celebrate with us. I'm going to read my remarks because it's easier for me. This has been an incredible journey, and I feel so grateful to have had the opportunity and the privilege of this experience, especially at midlife. Like all journeys, it's had its twists and turns and its ups and downs. At times I felt strong and confident, at times scared and confused, but always alive and engaged and surrounded by the most amazing human beings. I am grateful to everyone that has been part of it. You just can't do this alone. I'm so grateful to my husband of over 31 years, Rudy, for believing in me and always hanging in with me. He always says to me, "Lucy, what are you doing?" in reference to the Lucille Ball show and the trouble she gets into. I'm grateful to my parents, particularly for all their sacrifices and personal postponements, who gave up so much to immigrate to this country when my brother and I were school-age kids so that we could have opportunities such as this one. I am grateful to all my children, which include my son, daughter, Roberto, Claudia, and nieces and nephew, Audrey, Lindsay, and Joseph, for inspiring me and giving me great purpose in life. To my brother Hector and sister-in-law Lisa, to my dearest and closest sister friend and fellow traveler on this journey, Dr. Elizabeth Revilla, to my fellow student, friends, and colleagues. I also want to thank Dr. Christine Jacquin for her guidance throughout the years and Dr. Lauren Mizok for her support and encouragement. But I mostly want to extend my gratitude with a special thank you to Dr. Nancy Lynn Baker, who has been part of this journey from beginning to end through all those twists and turns, and who, in spite of having retired, continued to stand by me, chaired my dissertation, and advocated for me to the end. I want to also add that I cannot thank Dr. Baker without also extending a special thank you to her spouse and life partner who quietly in the background rooted for all of us students, including me. And I want to close by reading the lyrics to one of my favorite songs that really expresses the feelings in my heart, and it's titled Here's to Life. It was made popular by Shirley Horn and written by Phyllis Molinari. Here's to life. No complaints and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets, but I had to learn that all you give is all you get, so give it all you've got. I had my share, I drank my fill, and even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still to see what's down another road, beyond the hill, and do it all again. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. Funny how the time just flies, how love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes and leave you with the memories you've memorized to keep your winters warm. For there's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I'm still in the game, I want to play. For laughs, for life, for love. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Here's to life for dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. May all your storms be weathered and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. Thank you.
It is my honor to present to you tonight Dr. Elisa Brown Fuller. From the minute she walked in to interview, from mentoring her through practicum, from her attendance at what's now ProSam and was Cluster, to her mentorship to other students, to her writing, to every piece of work that Elisa did during this journey, from moving for internship, from doing a postdoc fellowship currently at UCLA. There is no way to convey to you the pleasure I've had in mentoring and working with Elisa over these few years. She will be such a gift to our profession. And now I introduce you to Dr. Fuller. Thank you.
Where did she go? Thank you, Dr. Bendel, for your kind words. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, President Rogers, members of the board, and esteemed faculty. I am honored to receive this doctoral degree from Fielding Graduate University and to share this moment with fellow graduates, my family, and my friends. Fielding, to me, is an incredible academic institution because it provides an invaluable service to our community. I would not be here today I told myself I wouldn't do that. I would not be here today if it were not for Fielding's commitment to equity and justice in doctoral education. Thank you for putting ideals into action. I'm especially grateful to Dr. Bendel, my advisor, my mentor, and dissertation chair, for guiding my academic career and always providing well-timed encouragement and, when needed, tough love. However, I would not have been able to do or complete this degree without the unwavering support and commitment from my husband, Renal Fuller. Thank you, sweetie, for giving our family 110% and never shying away from a big challenge. I would also like to acknowledge our family and friends for their support, especially our children, Tyler, Riley, and Soraya. My relationship with each of you continues to inspire me to demonstrate through my action, perseverance, and faith that all things are possible. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you.
So I met Deborah after she'd already been at Fielding for many years, so I wasn't with her through all the journey. And I remember her coming up to me and explaining that this was the last hurdle in her path. And I feel so honored to have had the opportunity to mentor her as she developed an outstanding research study. And I gave her a little bit of grief because she came up and she said, well, I want to understand more about African American women. And I was like, why? And she explained to me her passion. And she conducted this fabulous study. It was so important, where she was understanding how factors such as family cohesion, these really culturally relevant factors, like positive racial identity and how it impacts the intersection of racism and discrimination for African American women. And since then, she's had the opportunity to complete her internship, and now she's doing fabulous work with assessment and therapy in the VA hospital, where you're working with veterans who are serving our country. You're such an intensely dedicated clinician and researcher, and I feel so honored to welcome Dr. Deborah Crush into the community of scholars.
I am. I'm going to stand on this. I'm doing this wrong. I'm trying to squat.
I was really okay until the previous speaker started crying. And then I knew I was going to cry, I know. I just want to thank my family and friends who are here tonight. I'm sorry. And also all the faculty that did support me, even when things were really tough. I appreciate everyone's help and emotional support. Thank you.
I have my tissue.
I want to introduce you to Dr. Driver Woods, who is a student who came with qualifications in parent-infant mental health and then surpassed all expectations for what she has been able to do, from her dissertation to her internship at Los Angeles Children's Hospital, to her postdoctoral 2-year fellowship at Los Angeles Children's Hospital. She has brought to children and to their parents an incredible amount of growth and peace. And it is with great pleasure that I introduce you.
Thank you, Deborah.
All right. Okay, I got my tissue, but I'm going to try not to need all of it. Okay, I'm going to read this so I can stay on task. Deep breath. Good evening, everyone. So when I was reflecting upon my time here at Fielding Graduate University, I recalled how during our first year here at winter session, the faculty really suggested strongly that we go ahead and attend graduation. It's an inspiring event. The ceremony is wonderful. And a group of us actually attended, one of which is sitting there, Dominique Eugene. As we sat in the audience, we listened to the graduates' personal stories, and I remember crying as I listened to their stories of triumph and challenge, although I didn't know not a single one of the graduates. Through my tears, I definitely was inspired. As I listened, I wondered what my journey would be like and how it would feel to be one of the graduates. I imagined that as a graduate, I'd be incredibly proud of my achievement and excited about the professional opportunities ahead. Well, today is here and today is the day. As I stand before you this evening, I can tell you that similarly to the stories shared that night, I have had troubles, tribulations, but beautiful moments and support, which unfolded in ways that I could not have predicted. And yes, today I feel proud and excited. But what I feel most is grateful. Today, I am grateful. I'm grateful to God for my life. I'm grateful to my ancestors whose struggles and sacrifice opened the doors for education. I'm grateful for those who helped shape my character and are always present but watch from heaven. Esther Thomas, Woodrow Reed, Ada Reed, Reverend Louis Driver, Lillian Driver, and Louis Driver III. I'm grateful to my parents and their unconditional love and support and their belief and true investment in me as a whole person. I'm grateful to my husband for love, patience, and occasional pep talks. I'm grateful to my friends, family, supervisors, mentors for cheering me on along the way. I'm grateful to my Fielding colleagues like Dominique and Elisa for their support and encouragement and for always being available for a listening ear. I'm grateful to Fielding faculty, staff, my dissertation committee, and dissertation chair, Deborah Bendel, for providing me with a learning environment that allowed me to delve deeper into my areas of interest and feed my intellectual curiosity. Deborah, I thank you for your investment in my success. I'm truly grateful for your guidance, patience, encouragement, and genuine care and concern throughout the program. Lastly, I'm grateful for the families I've worked with throughout the years whose resilience and courage inspire me to be great. Thank you.
You made it, Brian. Good evening. I am very happy indeed to congratulate Dr. Brian Duncan on completing his PhD and graduating from Fielding, but I will be really sorry to see him go. Rarely in my career have I had as much fun and enjoyment working with a student. This guy is really intelligent, hardworking, creative, devoted to his family, and has a delightfully bizarre sense of humor. There aren't any other Brian Duncans around. They're just not. I really like this guy, and I'm going to miss you, Brian. Brian has been more than a student and an emerging scholar during his years at Fielding. He's been an incredible citizen, generous with his time and talents in giving back by helping our community and his fellow students. The list is enormous. Just a few highlights. He was cluster representative for Dallas in student government. He coordinated activities and speakers for the Dallas cluster. And in fact, I first got to know him when he and Dr. Kranzberg invited me to Dallas to provide training in pediatric psychology. He was a student leader at 2 NSOs, student anchor for the health psychology track meetings, started and ran a support group for Fielding students, families, helped run Magic Feet, led morning Tai Chi meetings at national sessions. He also worked with me on a grant-supported project on supporting adjustment in adolescents with cystic fibrosis, and then did a very conceptually and analytically complex dissertation on self-efficacy as a mediator between the experience of childhood abuse and adult health outcomes. Even when he fell behind his timeline, mostly because he was even more devoted to his family than to his studies, and became at times discouraged and in need of a little pep talk, he got right back on his horse, never lost his sense of humor or his professionalism, and he finished easily. What was it, Brian, 9-10 hours before your postdoc deadline? But a wonderful sprint to the end. He did a fantastic dissertation. Brian, you made it. I'm extremely happy for you, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to have helped you along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to welcome to the community of scholars, Dr. Brian Duncan.
There you go.
Okay, I only have a PhD in clinical psychology, so I'm not sure if I'm equipped to handle all of these emotions right now. First, I found it, very heartwarming and then somewhat embarrassing that Fielding put my time at Fielding on all of their advertising this year, or maybe that's just what it felt like. I've been at this so long. I remember hearing Dr. Harris-Britt's cluster talk about they had 5 boxes in their basket this year, 1 for each year of graduate school, and I was standing there thinking, maybe they forgot to carry a 1. But I say that to say it was a long road, a very long journey, and there were a lot of people that were responsible for it. There were people like my mother who put my education first and taught me to value my education right there on the front row. And then there was, I had amazing teachers in my childhood that were unparalleled, and I'll thank them all individually on Facebook. Y'all don't have to put up with that list. My friends like Tom and Carl and Larry and Ryan, who, never stopped being supportive, were always there when I needed, some encouragement. And then my wife, Amanda, for always being encouraging and supporting. And then whenever I thought about quitting, she would provide a good swift kick in the pants to keep me going. My daughter, Emily, or as we call her, Bear, who really had to take the I have school to do excuse way too often, but for putting up with that. But I tried to approach different faculty members this week to thank them individually for their contribution to my education and to really guiding me on this journey to a PhD and through Fielding. But a few people stand out. There's a special thank you to Marty Kranzberg, who put up with having me in her cluster when she took it over, and it already had me in it. And then always with enthusiasm and with good cheer, tolerating, as Dr. Bush said, my unique sense of humor. And then, of course, to Dr. Jacquin, who has a very similar sense of humor, and was always good to laugh at my jokes and to encourage me to keep moving through the program. And then, of course, to Dr. Bush, because like he said, he was always there, even in times that I didn't know if I was going to make it. I didn't have time to compose a Vogan poem for him, but he did always encourage me not to panic when I felt like panicking, and to bring a towel. And then, so what I guess I'm trying to say is that for every one of us that come up here and talk about our amazing accomplishments and this great journey, there is a whole group of people behind us that made each of those things possible. And I'm incredibly thankful for all of you. Thank you, and thank all of you.
I want to introduce you to Dr. Dominic Eugene, who has come through this program, began as a talented international trauma specialist, grew like nobody's business, has grown and produced a very good dissertation around intimate partner violence, has grown and moved for internship, has stayed for postdoctoral fellowship, and will bring to our profession solace to those who have terrible troubles in their life. I am so proud of you.
I gotta put my glasses on for this. All right, bear with me. I practiced, but the list of cheerleaders are very long, so I had to write it down. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here for all of us who have made it through this journey. So I'm a bit of a cynic, so bear with me. There's gonna be a lot of heavy-duty stuff here, okay? For all intents and purposes, I am an immigrant from a country that has been referred to as a shithole. I am a dreamer. I am a survivor. As is the case with my ancestors, as is the case with so many people that have made it to this country, through blood, sweat, and tears, we've persevered, and we've managed to get through the whole process. We triumphed through adversity. We faced all the challenges with open arms and got to the finish line. I am thankful for so many people who have cheered me on, for those near, far, friends, family, and even some enemies out there. I appreciate them, because for everyone that said I couldn't do it, I'm proving them wrong. To my mom, Jermaine Koster, my siblings who are around somewhere, Kevin, Harold, and Mireille, to my nieces, my nephews, to my partner, Johan, and his family, to my extended family who are like friends, my beloved friends, those who've cheered me on, who swear up and down that I can handle this, to Steve, Stephanie, to Valerie, Shemaye, Maisha, my dearest Cinnamon, Toby, Lisa, Blake, Jose Luis, Carol, to all my mentors, to my instructors, my dissertation committee, to Deborah Bendel, to Joe Bush, Sherry Hatcher, Gedda Nicholas, Henry Soper, Nolan Penn, and Christine Jacquin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Merci, salamat, dankeschön, grazie, arigato. That's it. Not that bad.
Excuse me, it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Jacqueline Fulcher to you. Jacqueline has always been interested in helping people with disabilities, and this population was the focus of her dissertation. She investigated whether certain self-efficacy beliefs and certain personality factors could help predict the outcomes of vocational rehabilitation programs. Her results will provide helpful guidance for these vocational programs to better serve their clientele. During her time with us, Jackie has been actually an invaluable member of my cluster. She is always welcoming to our new students and has been so generous with both her time and knowledge with other students. And as proud as we are of her accomplishments in her scholarly and clinical activities, her most impressive achievement in the term time she has been in our program has been the addition of 2 little Fulchers in her family. It's been a real privilege working with Jackie, and she will make a great addition to the community of scholars and practitioners in clinical psychology.
When I was little, my mom would always have me write thank you notes to everyone, and it really taught me the value of thankful behavior. And so my speech today is just a big thank you note to everyone. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Lawson for standing with me this whole time. She's been a great motivator, and she's really kept me going. I'd like to thank my dissertation committee, Dr. Holland, Dr. Vivian, Dr. Noda, and Dr. Harway, who originally was on my committee. I'd like to thank my classmates, especially Dr. Beth Lavin, who kept me going through internship and helped me get there every single day. My family, my cheering section. These people have kept me going every day. Phone calls to and from internship, picking up my kids from school so I didn't have to worry when I had to stay late, traveling to Santa Barbara multiple times with me, and not letting me quit when I tried a couple times. My most important thank you is to my husband, Derek. You have taken on so much for our family with your support, your love, and your motivation, and there's no way I could have done this without you. And to my babies, Amy and Benjamin, I love you. I have dreamed of this moment for so long, of standing up here and showing you that you can try really hard at something and you can achieve it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Dill Shackelford from Media Psychology, and this is truly an important and a sacred moment for me because I feel like a lucky, lucky professor tonight. I get to introduce you to one of my favorite people, Aidan Hirschfield. First, about his scholarship. Aidan has studied gender-diverse individuals, including trans and transgender individuals, and how they express ideas about body image on social media, particularly Instagram. This is really a groundbreaking study, and so much more research like this needs to be done, and I know someone who can do it. So we're going to stand back and just, after this, watch Aidan soar even more. Now, about Aidan as a person, Aidan is a person of integrity. He has a heart that's bigger than this ballroom. He takes care of other people. He thinks of other people first. He's always there with a smile. And, he's just someone I care deeply about. So I couldn't be more happy or more proud to say, welcome to the community of scholars, Dr. Aiden Hirschfield.
Okay, I'm not crying, you're crying. It's fine. Y'all, let me just get settled here for a second. I know, over the mic. Okay, here we go. I just have to tippy toe. Okay. That's just a little too short for this. Whew. Okay. As I knock everything over. Okay. All right, y'all. You know, I am not a runner. Honestly, I'm not even very keen on exercise, but I feel like I just finished a damn race. My mom pointed out to me earlier today that I have been in school for 23 consecutive years. I'm officially a professional student, so I offer my services. I have a website if anyone needs help. So I leave Fielding here with 3 degrees. In the master's program, I became an expert in the field, and in the PhD, I became an expert of myself. This process has shaped me. It has chiseled away at the young 23-year-old naive undergrad that started here and sculpted a scholar. I started at Fielding a much different person. Not just, as a woman, but also, as not a whole person. Largely, this was in part to my incredible chair, Karen, who was really truly my research therapist. So, Karen, I expect you to invoice me after this. So, as you've told me over and over again, Karen, I'm not an imposter, and I'm proud to call you my colleague. This, of course, would not have been possible without the support of my loved ones, who are all here. My parents, not just for opening your wallets, but for opening your minds. My research partners, one of who is here with me today, Melody, and my esteemed committee, who made this project possible and inspired me to push myself harder and to challenge the status quo. And my partner. I'll become a sobbing mess if I really try to get into it. But babe, we did it. Words cannot express how grateful I am to each and every one of you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and congratulations to all of us.
When I think of Melody, my head fills with a swirl of color. She's an artist, she's a scholar, she's a rainbow, she's a butterfly, she's a unicorn. Melody's dissertation was on gamers. What is the definition of a gamer, and what does it mean to have an identity as a gamer? You may know that gamers get a little bit of teasing about being gamers, living in the parents' basement, eating Doritos and Mountain Dew. Melody wanted to bust some of those stereotypes and say that, hey, there's good things about being gamers. Another thing about Melody's dissertation is that she live streamed it on Twitch, which is a video streaming company that has been bought by Amazon, and it was amazing. I asked a question, and 2 people on Twitch answered it, and I said, whoa, we gotta write that down. It was very good. Melody, you're such a colorful, wonderful, amazing individual, and I am so proud of you for your tenacity and for everything you did to get here. So Melody Metcalf, Dr. Melody Metcalf, welcome to the community of scholars.
Okay. Please, I need to fix my hair. Just so appropriate for me. Thank you. I got flowers and you don't. Okay, so as a brand new media psychologist, I thought that it would be appropriate to use some popular media quotes to kind of organize my feelings and be able to express them a little bit better to all of you. So Bob Ross teaches us that there are no mistakes, there are only happy little accidents. And the happiest accident that has happened to me recently was discovering Chip Whitehouse, a creative streamer on Twitch, who led me then to the entire Twitch creative community. Not only did I meet some of the best friends I've ever had my entire life, Jay and Chad, but also I was exposed to art in a way that I hadn't been exposed to it before, and I was able to find my artistic expression, which is very cathartic when you are going through a PhD process, FYI. From RuPaul, we learned that if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? And this is definitely what Aiden encompasses for me. There is no one who lives their truth louder or prepares the way for others to live their truth more than Aiden does. I am so proud to be up here with him representing Media Psych, and there is no one I would rather be here with. I'm so excited to take the Powerpuff Girls all over the planet. And finally, Cat Williams tells us that we all need haters. Karen, this one's for you. As a gamer, Karen was public enemy #1. Her research is foundational, but it's a little triggering for gamers. Unfortunately, I let some false notions and some politics keep me from choosing her as my chair initially. But I am so glad that I swallowed my pride and talked to her and made the switch, because there is no way I would be here without her. She's amazing. She called on me when I was missing. She gave me opportunities for research that I got published with her, and she just, she let me do crazy off-the-wall things like stream my FOR on Twitch, which was the first one ever on Twitch, and it was so cool. I'm just so grateful, and I can't wait to collect all of the haters like Pokemon. We're gonna catch them all. Finally, I just wanted to say I love you, Brielle, my daughter. We can now play some World of Warcraft together, and I won't have to feel guilty about it. And also, you guys, you did it, I did it, and as my mom would say, it's time to get a damn job. Thank you.
My name is Nolan Penn, and at one time I was the faculty head, or maybe leader, of the San Diego cluster during Abrams' matriculation years. So I'm here to welcome you, Dr. Milton, into the community of scholars. There's another thing I want to say about him, that your eyes have seen the world in ways that not too many men or women have seen it. During his matriculation, he was deployed to a war zone twice, into Afghanistan, and he made it back. The last time you went, of course, we all signed the inside of his flak jacket so that he wouldn't get hurt. And here he is. We had a couple of hymnals in the cluster, and we used to sing them. And they were tied directly to a researcher's experience in analyzing data. It was act purposefully, think rationally, and deal effectively with your environment. So we used to sing that hymnal, but it was created by a psychologist who said that it could be observed and measured, who created an instrument called the Wechsler test. We had another hymnal that said, if you think something is and it is not, maybe you ought to do something about that. that used to be called a type 1 error for a researcher. And the other hymnal part of that, the second verse, was, if you think something is not, and it is, then you need to do something about that maybe. So with that kind of perspective, I hope that you will be able to carry out your work in the world successfully. Thank you, Dr. Milton. Do I need to stand on that? No. Okay. Here's your robes.
Thank you, Dr. Penn. President Rogers, Marilyn Freeman, Christine Jacqueline, esteemed faculty. It's truly an honor to be here. And thank you for each and every one for the different family members that have come out, because without this, we would not have accomplished many of these things. Definitely want to show the appreciation for the other fellow students that we have made it here. So I wanted to spend just a few moments just saying about my journey and about the appreciation, because I pretty much thought that most of my journey can kind of be summed up with things that I dealt with within fielding, while I was in the military, and then things afterwards kind of with my family, and that's where I show my Pacific appreciation. First and foremost with Nolan, definitely a wonderful mentor, and was greatly appreciated for all the support with my dissertation, being with the faculty, and even though he had moved on out of field and continuing on, that we can continue doing collaborations. Also want to thank Dr. Carmen Polito for taking over with the San Diego cluster. It was greatly appreciated with that transition. And even while we were kind of waiting, having Dr. Marilyn Freeman kind of helping us with that transition with the cluster for a period of time. I also want to show my appreciation to the San Diego cluster. One thing y'all know about fielding is having that cluster members can really assist, kind of getting through this program. And with that, throwing with Elisa, definitely showing that appreciation as we was going through some of the different internships, and Andrea, kind of as we would talk as we was on internships, right? I also like to thank out some people who couldn't make it out within the fielding community, Naomi, Whaler, right? I also like to thank the continued research that I'm doing with Dr. Joe Bush. I really appreciate, being that mentor and kind of helping me out. And one thing I loved about fielding is about, like I said, about that military support. When I first came into that program, I know I was still an active duty service member, and I just really appreciated many of the different staff that assisted me. People like Judith, Marty, Joan, Tiffany, many different people who, when I was going through some of those classes, when I was deployed, still helping me out and assisting. That truly meant something to me as I was going through to show that I had that support. And with that being said, talking about some of the people who are here today that's supporting me, the Garcias that are here, that came down from that, closer to the San Diego, kind of Temecula area. And definitely one of my old dear colleagues that I went to Afghanistan with, Major Rosenblatt. And thank you definitely for coming out. For some of my other support, I have a dear friend, Brian Kinney. Definitely thank y'all for attendance. I want to also thank people like Colonel Cromwell and Alex Glover, people who are not here but definitely supported me, because without that, I would not have been able to do this degree while I was in the military. And then I get directly to my family. Some of y'all, believe it or not, I know a lot of times when I deployed or when I came out to these sessions, y'all would see pictures on my keyboards and on my screens, but yes, my family is back in the back. Misa, definitely I love you. Definitely thank you for everything. And Michael, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, and that's what I want to thank, Marcel Maxwell and Tyrell, my sons, for my whole family for that support during those long times I was coming. I also want to show support for my mother and father. Thank goodness I love that Fielding is doing this live stream because it allows us, for family members who may have for different reasons couldn't come out, they come in, we'll be able to see this. So definitely I want to say, definitely looking at y'all in live stream, because I know y'all watching, definitely thank you for that. And for the rest of my folks then, family from Folkestone, from my family from Florida, definitely showing appreciation and thanking you. For my old supervisor, while I was in practicum, Dr. Sue Smith and the other Aegis staff, my other friends right now that are watching, because we had this possibility. And for the current students, just want to definitely say, you can do this stuff. You do have the resiliency to continue on pressing because, one thing about Fielding is that it may be hard, it may be challenging, maybe many different things, but you can do these things as long as they will support you as long as you go out. So definitely, thank you, everyone.
Hi, I'm Ray Hawkins from the Austin cluster, and I'm very happy to have Ken Monfort on the stage with me. Actually, Ken's from Houston, and back in the day when he started in the program, I also was responsible for being faculty advisor for the whole Houston area before my colleague, Dr. Veazey, joined Fielding. And so Ken and also his wife, Dr. Natalie Monfort, a Fielding alum, would drive to Austin regularly for our cluster meetings, and they would come on motorcycles, often on the same motorcycle. And I love to tell this story. One time they had a bad tire, and so we had to drive Ken to get a replacement tire so he could get back to Houston at the end of the day. Well, I could say a pun about never being tired of Ken. Well, I just did. Oh, well. But Ken did a groundbreaking study of family and adaptive functioning in children, young adolescents, and young adults with autism spectrum disorder. This took a lot of time and effort and heart to work with families in the center where Ken works along with his spouse, to get families, to encourage them to participate in this study. And I think it's a true monument to you that you persevered and completed that study. So it's a happy day for you, and I am very proud to welcome you, Dr. Ken Monfort, into the community of scholars. You still will have to bend down a little bit.
I've been thinking about what I would say on this podium for a long time. Since I began this program, I not only got married, but we've celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary. I've not only become a homeowner, but I've survived not one, but 2 hurricanes, Ike and Harvey. I not only became a father, but I had the privilege of adopting 2 boys who are now fully fledged teenagers and growing faster than I imagined was possible. This morning at breakfast for the new graduates, A.G. Green gave a characteristically eloquent speech about appreciating each of the steps that it took to get to this point. He acknowledged that some of us got here by plodding methodically through those steps. Others of us made it in fits and starts, leaps and pauses. But the important thing is that we all kept going. As I thought about his words, I began to feel proud not about how long it took me to go through the program, but that despite the numerous and tempting opportunities to quit and to stray from the path, I was able to continue. Of course, I could never have succeeded without an army of supporters behind me. The list of people that I want to acknowledge has to begin with my wife and partner in all things, Natalie. As a Fielding alum herself, she always understood when I needed to withdraw into a paper or bury myself in a lit review. She provided the encouragement I needed when I was unable to keep going on my own. I simply could not have done it without you. Thank you. I also have to acknowledge my two boys, Elijah and John, who patiently waited when Dad was unavailable due to practicum hours or dissertation work. You never complained when I disappeared for whole days into the office or had to work long hours as an intern. Thanks, guys. I also want to thank my parents, who, despite living 2,500 miles away, always managed to provide the cheerleading and celebration of those little victories along the way. I lost my page. Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge several of the staff members, some past and some present, who have kept my steps moving. Ray Hawkins, my faculty advisor, my cluster leader, my dissertation chair. Everyone on this stage knows what an asset you are to this program, but you can't possibly hear enough thanks for all that you give to your students. From the late night grading rescues to the fun holiday parties, you are a big reason that I'm standing here today. Dr. Joe Bush, my dissertation methods expert. It wasn't always easy, but your ability to challenge and question my assumptions, to ask the difficult questions, transformed my dissertation from adequate to something I can take real pride in. You always treated me like a colleague, and that gave me the confidence to engage in real discussions and debates about the project, and that strengthened it in a way, it strengthened it immeasurably. Thank you. To several of the other instructors and guides here along the way, Christine Jacquin, Charles Elliott, Nancy Hansen, Stephen Ruffins, Shel Rudestam, I was likely, somehow I got these all mixed up, I was likely just another student on your roster, but you each made lasting impressions on me and helped shape the way that I approach my life's work. Thank you. Last and certainly not least, I need to thank Dr. Catherine Loveland from the UT Health Science Center in Houston. For most of my professional development, she stood by me, guided me, and molded me into the professional that I am today. She always said she would get me to this point, even if she had to drag me, kicking and screaming, across the finish line. Thankfully, it didn't come to that, but I deeply appreciate her commitment and support throughout my training. My final words are directed to Dr. Rogers and the leadership of Fielding. I know that Fielding has long struggled to find a balance between educating students in a way that creates creative, passionate, lifelong learners, and meeting the standards necessary to maintain the credentials needed to do this work. For me, I've been a part of this community for over a quarter of its history, and I appreciate your efforts to keep the Fielding philosophy and model true. I feel better prepared to go out into the world and become a part of this professional community than any brick and mortar program could have made me. Thank you for the true gift of this experience, and that is the community that taught me to think for myself and to find my own voice. Now, as Dr. Green said this morning, it's time to find my own path, to continue taking those next steps. I look forward to seeing where my next paths lead me. Thank you.
It's with great pleasure that I introduce Dr. Suzanne Palmer. I met Suzanne about 5 years ago when she joined my research team. We were studying sexual harassment and school climate, and she brought with her a very clear-eyed intelligence as well as impressive writing skills and a real drive to master new material. With these same characteristics, Suzanne produced an impressive and an intellectually stimulating dissertation on parental and peer support as moderators of objective and perceived weight and sexual risk-taking in late adolescent girls. Suzanne is a champion of those who are in need of champions, and it is with great pleasure that I welcome Suzanne into the community of scholars. Congratulations.
Okay, so I think about a couple decades ago when I was in new student orientation, Dr. Bill Friedman passed around one of these little caps to everybody in my little group and said, I want you to picture what it's going to feel like to wear this during graduation. And Jackie, you remember? It was absolutely horrifying. It was very uncomfortable. It was terrible. So I made a joke of it, and I said, you know, kind of acted like, hey, I'm up here receiving this Academy Award, and I like to thank my cast and crew, whatever. And I had no idea how incredibly prophetic that was going to be. So at the end of all of this, again, a couple decades later, I'm the one up here with my name in lights. I get the diploma, I get the attention, I get the celebration. But there is no way I would be here without my crew back there. I got 22 people back there supporting me, and that's just a few of them. So, you know, first of all, Mimi, you know I love you. Mimi and I spent a lot of years together. She knows me far too well. And then my mom, I think if you got to say who's responsible for me being here, there's a lot, but my mom, I love you. When I was very young, she taught me all of her counseling skills, not on purpose, but I kind of learned them because, you know, it's defensive because I was tired of her knowing everything about me. She's a school psychologist and a very good one, so that's where I started. And since then, my parents, they've always stepped in to take care of my kids whenever I need them, and Aunt Angie, on a dime, I could always count on her. It takes so much stress off of me. Anytime I need her, she would just be there. You know, my brother's here. David and Brian, I love you very much. And the rest of my family, forgive me because you know, just like the Academy Awards, I know I'm forgetting someone. I didn't write it down. But my husband, there could not possibly be a more supportive partner ever in the history of anything. He took all 5 of my kids one summer all the way across country, drove it 40-plus hours one way just so that my kids could see the rest of their family while I'm here during the summer just working on my dissertation. And then I spent a year away from all of them doing my internship. During the week, I lived out of state, but I was still come back on the weekends. But those 5 little kids back there, some of them not so little, are my heroes. I love them so much. They still love me through all of this. They supported me. They are my heroes, and I love them more than they can know. So at the end of it, I get the recognition, but there's my cast right there. I love you guys so much. Thanks.
It is my intent and task tonight to introduce you to Dr. Andrea Temple. She was also in that San Diego cluster. And during that cluster, we sang hymnals, correct?
Correct.
That in life, you act purposefully, you think rationally, and you deal effectively with your environment. And the person who said that was a psychology scholar who says you can actually measure that and develop a test for it, which she knows perfectly. The other one was also related to the kind of research work that a research scholar needs to do, and that there are a couple of types of errors that you can make. One error said if you think something is and it is not, that's called a type error, and you need to do something about that. And if you're doing empirical research, it says if you think something is not and it is, then you need to think about doing something about that. Well, of course, you'll never get published if you don't. And Andrea was a student who listened and did the work of it. But I also want to say that Andrea has seen the world. Her eyes have seen the world in many ways that most men have not seen. She was a woman, she was a mother, she raised her children, and she worked full time during the course of getting her degree and never missed a beat. So tonight, again, I want to welcome you into the community of scholars. And I'm going to try and hood you. Thank you. I'll put yours on a little better than I did before. And here's your yellow rose.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Penn. Thank you, everyone. I, too, have a few words. Sorry, we'll keep this quick. I asked one of my greatest mentors once, "Why do you teach?" He said, "The students. We like being around bright young minds." Well, I'm not sure my mind is young, but I hope I have been one of those bright minds. When the program was tough, I know that's a surprise, I was motivated to push through so that I could keep learning from him and from the other amazing scholars here at Fielding. That mentor is Dr. Nolan Penn, my dissertation chair, fountain of knowledge, and faculty advisor to whom I will be forever grateful. Dr. Henry Soper, second reader on my dissertation, and one of the finest neuropsychologists and people from which I could have the privilege to learn. And so many others, present and otherwise. Dr. Daniel Holland, Dr. Ray Newton, Dr. Deborah Bendel, Dr. Marilyn Freemuth, Dr. Michelle Harway, Dr. Marty Kranzberg, Dr. Sandy Draub, Dr. Margaret Kramer, Dr. Carmen Pulido. Thank you for teaching and helping me and inspiring me. Thank you to my supervisors, Dr. Kent Layton for starting me on this road, Dr. Eric Marcus, Dr. Lisa Davidson, Dr. Laura Willard, Dr. Patty Pedersen, and the ever-present Rosalinda, Dr. Jeff Daly, Dr. Walter Litwin, Dr. John Natchison. With their encouragement, support, and mentorship, I believe I am the kind of clinician that can facilitate the change in others that they have helped facilitate in me. Thank you to my family and friends that have been there and supported me along the way. To Kim, Sally, Stephanie, Bill, Abram, and Daryl, and Virginia and Angie, my fellow Fielding friends, for the many study sessions and overall great friendships we have shared. To Myra, Laura, Tanya, Dominique, and Rebecca, my wonderful non-Fielding friends who nevertheless understood, encouraged, and stood by me even when I was absent. To my excellent brothers, wonderful sisters-in-law, and amazing nieces, nephews, and cousins, you bring immeasurable joy to my life. To those that I have neglected to mention, you are nonetheless important to me, and I trust you will understand my not-so-young mind. Finally, I am the daughter of a migrant farm worker, only child in her family of 6 siblings to graduate from college and go on to obtain her master's degree. She almost had her doctorate in education, but was raising 3 snot-nosed teenagers and gave it up for us. She gave me the greatest gift. She told me that I had come into my own. Only a parent can do this, and I am forever blessed. This is for you, Mom. I am the daughter of a physicist, engineer father who obtained his master's degree and helped improve the algorithms used to determine the improved orbit of the Atlas rocket, if any of you remember that. This is for you, Dad. No small shoes to follow in. My 3 children are sitting in the audience in front of me. I hope that they don't feel pressured by the legacy that they are following, but empowered by it. If there is one thing of which I am certain throughout this process called life, it is what you make of it. And you are more powerful than you could ever imagine. I am proud of all of you, of the people you have become. You are more than enough. Become the best you can be, and then decide who you wish to share it with. That is what I am doing. Simple, but powerful. So I say thank you to these, my children, 2 of whom graduated last year and 2 of us who are graduating this year. We will do great things. We may already have in a world that needs us. We are following on the shoulders of giants, some of whom I have thanked and we have heard spoken of by those this evening. Thank you, my fellow graduates. Let us go forth and do great things.
It's a pleasure I introduce Tammy Wong. I met Tammy in the first-year cognitive assessment course. It was apparent that her inquisitive and tenacious manner was going to yield success in her study at Fielding. Since then, and over these past years, she's matured in the breadth of her knowledge, her clinical acumen, and research skills. I feel so fortunate that I was able to chair her dissertation and oversee her qualitative inquiry into language brokering in young Chinese immigrants in Canada. The rich data that she gathered exposes the complexity of the experience and the ambivalence around it. I'm hoping that she carries her findings forward to inform broader clinical practice and to shape public policy. So I am delighted in welcoming into the community of scholars Dr. Tammy Wong.
Thank you, Dr. Fallon, and thank you, everyone. Wow, I'm so happy and excited today because it is 7 years. And I would like to thank my Lord, who makes something impossible into possible. So all praises and glory to my Lord. In these 7 years, it wasn't easy, especially for an immigrant from Hong Kong. It was difficult, but it was an incredible and worthwhile journey. From now on, my life mission and service to the community and my impact in the world will be different. I have to thank many people who helped me to walk through this journey. To my husband, who sacrificed a lot. He paid all my tuition fees. He accommodated me and took care of me so I can pursue my goals. Thank you. To my parents, who always encouraged me to fly as high as I want, although they have no formal education. My mom passed away while I was doing my PhD. Now I think I can say to her, Mom, I made it. And she and I, Dad in heaven, must be beaming at me. Good girl. To my daughters, Janice and Carmel, thank you for allowing me to follow your footsteps by supporting my academic work, by criticizing and editing my work. Thank you. To my friends who are here, you're always here by my side, even when I was crazy busy all these years. Thank you. Thanks to my dissertation committee, especially my chair, Dr. Fallon. You guided me, mentored me, enlightened me for these 7 years, persistently, patiently, and professionally. And also want to thank my method specialist, Dr. Nelson, who came at a time when I needed her most. At that time, Dr. Harvey just retired. I also want to thank Dr. Harvey and Dr. Osherson. I also want to thank my faculty advisor, Dr. Hatcher. You are always a model psychologist to me. Thanks for inspiring me so much. And thanks for all faculty members who taught me, inspired me, and shaped me into a fine PhD psychologist. Thank you, Fielding. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we're both going to talk for Dr. Zayed, whom we welcome to the community of scholars. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I have written a few things here. When I first met Dr. Zayed, I knew that she was someone special. She was sharp as a tack. She was energetic. She was ambitious. And if you ever wanted to know what was going on with anybody anywhere, Luda was the person to ask. She was always serious about her work. I am not reaching this. She was serious about her studies and determined to succeed despite obstacles and life's little circuitous routes that take you places where you didn't expect to go. But through life's uncertain landscape, she always moved with grit and grace, and I am so very happy to welcome her to the community of scholars. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to just add a couple more words. See, I was the privilege to serve as the chair for Dr. Zayed's dissertation, and we met, the first time that she even talked about this idea was when we had a special cluster event down the Rio Grande Valley. And I never forget, Luda asked me about this idea. She was tentative about this idea to do a study of body image dissatisfaction and acculturative stress in young female and male Hispanic individuals after bariatric surgery. And I said, well, I can do that for you. Eating disorders is one of my areas. Oh, and then that was the start of it. And she pretty much independently did the whole study. It involved coordinating work with physicians in the hospital and, just a tremendous amount of work, and it's a very important study. So again, we welcome you, Dr. Luda Zayed, to the community of scholars. You can hand the rose. Marty gets to hand the rose. Let's see if we get this right. There it is.
Wow, it's my turn now, finally. You know, I always get to be the last one because of my last name. Thank you, honey. And I know you all want to go and celebrate, so I'm going to keep it short. This has been an incredible journey for me, incredible and long journey for me. I've met so many wonderful people along the way. I've met long life friends along the way. I would like to say thank you to our wonderful faculty. I wish I had time to say thank you to every single one of you, but I'm sure you would not want me to do that. Nonetheless, there is one person I would like to acknowledge, and it's my chair, Dr. Hawkins. He's been absolutely incredible. Thank you for answering my mails at 1 a.m. so that I have no choice but go back to writing at 7 a.m. He really pushed me to more than he can imagine. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank my kids who are not with me right now, but I'm surely watching me right now. Daniel, Gabriel, and my baby boy, Alex. You've seen your mom study in your entire lives. You sacrificed so much so that I can achieve this, but I want you to know that you're my greatest achievement, my greatest one. I would like to thank my husband, Fuad. For 21 years, you've made this your personal quest to make me happy. Your unconditional love and support has brought me here. I would not be here without you. You know that, right? I want to say thank you to my mom, who left everything and flew across the world so she can stay with my kids when I had to relocate for internship. I'm sure many of our fellow graduates had to experience the same thing. It's really, really tough, but we overcome that if we made it this far. I also want to mention my father, who is no longer with us, but his incredible love for books has encouraged me to pursue this doctoral degree. And congratulations to us. Thank you.
Let's see, I'm gonna get a. Well, I want to tell you that I have been moved by your stories of struggle and triumph and of gratitude. And I'd like to say something to you about my experience as a professor and a special story of my own that might link to what we as a faculty wish for you as new graduates. So the story that I want to share is about a memory. Every New Year's Day, I write down the moments that I want to remember from the previous year. And the moment that I wrote about this year wasn't about a family event or a trip or a book or a play that moved me. Instead, it was about a moment that I had at a Society for Qualitative Inquiry and Psychology conference the previous May. And this is a society that I founded several years ago to promote qualitative research. And we were holding our 5th annual meeting, and it was very, very lively. And at one point during a break, I was just standing at the side by a wall and looking around. And what I saw were 4 generations of people around me. There was the old generation like me. Then there was a generation of people who were professors, people who were in their 40s and 50s. And another generation of people who were kind of assistant associate professors in their 30s and 40s, and an even larger group of graduate students. And there was such an enormous sense of liveliness in the students. There was such energy that I was just filled with delight and gratitude because I had the sense that I was witnessing the birth of the future. And this was for me a moment of a profound sense of generativity because I felt myself in the shadow. And instead, the light was shining very forcefully on this youngest, newest generation. It was also very meaningful to me when, the day after New Year's, I went to visit my very first professor of psychology, who is 94, and his name is Don Brown. And I told him the story about these generations, and I told him that this society really grew out of something that he had said to me some 45 years ago, just one line, when he said to me, sometimes the best way to know something about someone is to ask them. And I said to him, you see where that phrase has led? Look what we have created out of just that phrase. So there are really 5 generations in this story, he being the 5th, and then the others before him. So this is very much a generational story that I'm telling you. I'm having another moment like that tonight, a moment that I think that my colleagues may be sharing with me. As a faculty, we're very proud of you for all that you have achieved. But we don't know yet what will prove especially meaningful to you as you go forth. We have offered what we could as your teachers, and we trust that you will take some of that, make it your own, and carry it forward. You will, of course, do this in ways that we cannot yet imagine. We will be here cheering for you and open to surprise and wonder at your next accomplishments. We are living in a very troubled world. We are destroying our planet, and we are far from a socially just society. I believe in the principle that is embodied in the Hebrew phrase, tikkun olam, which means the project of trying to repair the world. And we do this one person, one group, one project at a time. Collectively, we can make a difference. What you contribute may just be a drop in the ocean, and yet, in the words of the writer David Mitchell, what is an ocean but a multitude of drops? We hope you move on with your new degrees to the project of repairing the world. Carry us with you, but find your own meaning and your own truths. What you do matters. We urge you to try to do things that matter. As time goes on, please let us know what you are contributing to this world of ours, and we will continue to cheer you on. And please come to the party tonight so that we can all celebrate together, both an ending and a beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph, for those inspiring words. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to do our recessional. So we'll ask for all of you, family and friends, to please stand up and stay in your place as we come off of the stage. We'll first have our faculty and then our students will follow. And we look forward to seeing you not only at the party, but please keep in mind that there's a place for you to take photos with family and friends and the graduates.